She was mopping the lobby floor until the CEO heard her speak Mandarin Spanish and French like a native. What happened next shocked the entire company. Most people didn't notice the cleaning crew at Halberg International, not out of malice, just habit. They came in after hours, pushing carts, changing trash bags, wiping down conference tables, blending into the background like elevator music. It was Monday morning in downtown Fort Worth, Texas, and the company's main lobby buzzed with shoes clacking against tile, people tapping on phones, talking deadlines, and clutching coffee like it held the answers. Jonathan Kellerman, the company's CEO, was halfway through his walk from the parking garage to the 18th floor executive suite when he heard a voice, but not just any voice, fluent, sharp, and rolling through a language he hadn't heard since his last visit to the company's Shanghai office. Mandarin. It stopped him cold, not because it was Mandarin, but because of who was speaking it. He glanced around thinking maybe one of the international sales reps had come in early. But then he saw her, a woman in a burgundy janitor's uniform, her short twists pulled back into a ponytail, standing near the touchscreen lobby directory. She was mid-conversation with an older man in a navy jacket and thick-rimmed glasses who looked confused and relieved all at once. She was gesturing calmly, her voice warm and firm, directing him toward the elevators. Kellerman narrowed his eyes. He'd seen her before, passing through the halls after late meetings, always polite, always quiet, never made eye contact unless spoken to. He didn't even know her name. But here she was, effortlessly translating and explaining building logistics in a language most Americans couldn't even pronounce correctly. He took a slow step forward. As he got closer, she wrapped up the Mandarin conversation and turned toward a delivery man holding a clipboard. She said fluidly, switching into Spanish. The delivery man blinked, "See, gracious." Then just as casually, she turned to a vendor standing nearby, looking at a set of mislabeled boxes. "Say Mel Markwell, the conference B as a lottery code," she told him in French, pointing with a faint smile. Kellerman's jaw clenched slightly, not from anger, but from something else, something tighter, a pinch of guilt. He'd worked in global logistics for over 2 decades, led international expansions, hired translators, built cross-cultural training programs. Yet here, in his own building, the most linguistically gifted person he'd encountered in months had been scrubbing toilets just 2 floors below. He stepped forward, more curious than commanding. "Excuse me." She turned toward him, startled but composed. "Yes, sir." He smiled faintly. "That was Mandarin, right?" "Yes, sir. You speak it fluently?" "Yes." "And Spanish, French?" She nodded. "Also Portuguese, German, Arabic, Italian, Swahili, and I read Latin, but I don't really count that." He blinked. "You're telling me you speak 9 languages?" "Yes, sir." There was no pride in her tone, no arrogance, just truth, straight as a level beam. He stared at her for a second, trying to catch up to the fact that a janitor in his building, a woman who mopped floors in silence every night, was a walking United Nations. "What's your name?" he asked finally. "Denise Atwater." "Miss Atwater, are you free for a few minutes?" Her brow raised slightly now. "Yes, I'd like to talk to you in my office." He noticed a look of hesitation, not fear exactly, just that built-in reflex people have when they're used to being ignored or underestimated. She slowly nodded. "All right." He pressed the elevator button, holding the door open as she stepped inside. Inside the lift, silence settled for a moment. "I've worked here for 13 years, she said suddenly as they rose toward the executive floor. He turned toward her. "Never thought I'd be invited up." He gave a small, quiet smile. "You might be surprised how quickly things can change." But he had no idea just how much was him. The elevator dinged. Denise stepped out first, her shoes quiet on the about to change, not for her, and not for polished wood floor of the executive hallway. It smelled like citrus and leather, money, if you had to put a scent on it. Kellerman's assistant glanced up, witty at the sight of Denise beside him. He didn't explain, just nodded for her to let them through. Once inside the glass-walled office, he gestured to a chair across from his desk. "Please sit." She sat carefully, folding her hands in her lap, eyes moving slowly across the room. She wasn't impressed, just observant. A large world map hung behind him, each country dotted with colored pins. On the side table, a tray of espresso cups, a photo of his 2 daughters, and a dusty award from a trade conference in Brussels. Kellerman sat across from her, leaning forward slightly. "So Denise, I am going to be honest, I didn't expect to have this conversation today." She gave a small nod, her posture still, her face unreadable. "But I just heard you speak 3 languages like you were flipping light switches. And I need to understand, how does someone like you end up working here cleaning floors?" For a second she didn't answer. Her eyes flicked toward the window, then back to him. "You got time for the truth? I wouldn't have asked otherwise." She sighed. "All right then." She rubbed her palms together as if warming up the words. "I was born in Toledo, Ohio, only child. My